Hello everybody, just doing a quick video here. It's been a long time since I've put a video out for an update of any type. So I got these done for my son's birthday, some Signar models, and I put some Super Sculpt underneath to raise them up so the sword wasn't hitting the ground, but looks like I'm going to have to get them a little bit higher. Kind of just squish some clay and underneath the base on a flat what used to be a credit card that I cut up, and it was a big enough spot to put down and have a spin spot on the table. Keeping the stuff for terrain, just cut up the cards. I got all those clean and assembled. That's a model I had General split and painted for me. Unfortunately, his flag on the back came off, so I had to repair that. Got some arms that broke off. Those two guys over there upside down, they're kind of getting better glued in place as theirs. That's some stuff I made with, well, there's some wood chips on there from outside. This is Super Sculpty, which I ran over with my, actually I got a bigger piece. Which I ran over with my Green Stuff World cobblestone rolling pin. Stuff does work quite nice. Oh, that's from there too, and that's just upside down. I didn't use Super Sculpty on the bigger, thicker parts that you see there that are the kind of tan color. I used Super Sculpty. Now, I don't know if my Super Sculpty was old and that was my problem, or if I went too thick, but it kind of burned, and I didn't even have it in there as long as I was supposed to, and it's kind of hard, but yet it kind of bends, so you have to kind of cut it up with your knife. And then if you look, it also has these ear pockets, which isn't a big problem. If I can get that focus, you can put in Milliput, or you can get plastic putty, or you can just use joint compound, all-purpose joint compound, and smooth those in. Or if you want that look, you could definitely leave it that way. That's a different rolling pin there, just to have some variation on some different things, putting that guy back where he was at. Then I have these models here that are all clean, assembled, and primed this year. Arms with shields were done separately, and then blue tacked at the end, and then sprayed on a stick. Some people might call them lollipop sticks or popsicle sticks. I did the same thing with these capes here, so that way I could get around to some stuff. I've had these guys built, but I primed them in the silver. I'm going to try and see how that works out, since I'm kind of going with that Knights Templar look, so they're going to be more Knights in Shining Armor. But those are primed. That one is one of my son's. Kind of just started painting because I didn't pay attention. I wasn't going to plan on it. I got my Menos Rex complete. I just actually glued on the tufts today. I was going to just put some glue down and some flock, but I just said, you know what, let's use some tufts. And this is from the Highland tufts from, I want to say Gale Force 9, but no, Army Painter. Sorry, I knew it wasn't Gale Force 9. Started working on him. Haven't really completed him yet because I'm not sure what I want to do with the base. He's not completed, and as you can see, there's all my rods from pinning. The light jack gear, I have the body, and I don't think I'm using quite the right head, and I don't really care too much. But I don't have arms for him, so I'm not sure what the heck I'm going to do, because I got the one with the shield and spear, and then I got the one with the Morning Star and flamethrower, and then over here, if you look, I got the one with the rocket and the mace, And I'm like, well, what the hell one do I have that I didn't clean and assemble, and I can't find the parts for it, so I don't know what the hell is going on with that. But if you look over here, I got some more arms. Then I have this myriad of Bros that I have clean, assembled, and painted, or primed, not painted, this year alone. Trying to give you a better look of what's in there, and that's with that metal primer. Now, all the silver primer is actually the Army Painter's Chainmail, I believe it was the color. And that works really nice. The Scorn stuff I have in white, and then I done some zenith lighting on guys that aren't going to be purely mostly covered in silver and are not just normal infantry bros. So I kind of changed those guys up from the all silver like the other guy. I still have him that I haven't touched in a long while. I did add a little bit to the base right there in the front of that pillar to kind of tie it into the wrecks that are over there, because it's the same kind of little embellishment on there. And believe it or not, there's actually been some work done on my Arcadia Quest. Is that the right one? I want to say this is, no, this is Super Dungeon Explorer. See, I knew I was wrong. Yeah, I actually have done some work on the Super Dungeon Explorer. These are the last 3 I have left to do. I cleaned and assembled him. He just needs the back, and he's going to go on that base. That's why you saw some of those bigger chunks. I started smoothing some of it out a little bit with my Vallejo plastic putty. Put a little embellishment on there from a Crix Bane's back piece. Kind of just tops it in there. And then, you know, I have these guys waiting to be primed. I had to do some putty work on him. Basically, the backpack coil and the coil on his body didn't really match up, so I had to make them match. Shoulder pads, always a pain in the ass for Scorn. That is for the Centrati. I'm going to have to make up some magic sculpting. I really do like this stuff. I don't think I've said it in the channel, but I really do enjoy this stuff. It's 2-part. It's kind of more like a clay, so it's kind of more like Milliput. But it works kind of like green stuff. You know, you need water to smooth it out and not get it to stick. And that's how it dries. Now, that's how thin this piece is. And it was put on here when I rolled it. I rolled it about right there. And I used the rolling pin. And I did not realize it was going to take the ink off the map. Now, something this thin with green stuff probably would break pretty easily. I'm actually putting a lot of finger torque in just to get, look at how much that snapped as soon as it finally broke. This stuff is really good. When it dries really strong. You make a thicker piece of that, and good luck trying to snap that piece. You're going to have to take your clippers or a pair of pliers. And that's what I ended up having to do on some of the stuff. I had to take pliers and just snap it with the pliers. Kind of left a little bit of marks in it, but you know, shit happens. I got a bag of skulls, which I put on some bases, and then I put one skull actually inside of him. Peekaboo. The wood plinths I got from a Kickstarter with the little pieces down below. They're really nice. I actually quite enjoy them. Let's see. To get the little cork piece out, you just put a pen or the back end of your paintbrush in and put it in the middle-ish, and then poop, pop right out. It works really nice. These rods that you see these guys on, they really help with keeping your brush a little bit more steady, because you can rest the brush on it. Do I have anything else that I haven't really shown on the channel? I got some stuff in there, but they're more side project than anything else. I'm not really too worried Oh yeah, these guys here, they got their shields over here. I got to putty off the back of the shield, and I got to putty off their hands so that I can prime everything, and they'll have a good glue spot because you don't want to glue over paint. I was gonna say glue over glue. I got my paint racks rearranged. Tried to go more by color, and I kind of feel like I failed at it. I did keep my inks and my washes in one place. I didn't kind of really put them with the other stuff as much. But yeah, so I got all those. That was much more challenging than I thought. And then I have my Scale 75 color sets in here, and I also have the Vallejo sets as well. So I kind of separated those out so I can easily find those amongst the other sets. These are all figures I cleaned and primed this year. I painted up and flocked the flags and objectives. And I know somebody's going to complain that I just turned the camera angle, messing up everything. I'm going to redo some of the bases on these guys. As you kind of go down the progression, you'll notice these bases are much more, I don't want to say pop, I'm trying to get some more light on there, trying to move my gigantic head from the light source. So these are the last two I completed, and these are the first ones that I kind of did. And so as you can kind of see, much difference in the base and how it looks and how it pops. So I think I'm going to go back and just kind of make them the same. I did actually make more walls this year and painted them up and tried some different things just to see. I got some of them over here actually too. Just kind of playing with casting and resin, putting inks and paints in so I could see how well I have my resins mixed. I got some more skulls here. So yeah, I was kind of playing with that a little bit this year. And I still have a lot more stuff down here that I gotta clean and assemble. I did these this year. I got this from a Kickstarter. I call that the Clitoris Cave. Let me pull out the front, and as you can see, there's a thing down below. It's a platform, and you can maybe see why I called it that. Flock this, which is actually a blend of a bunch of different flocks, and then use the isopropylate and water technique and sprayed it, and then put thin down glue on top of that, and that really actually works really good. That stuff ain't going nowhere. So I have those that I did. Oh, I found something kind of cool. Let's see, is in this one? Yeah. So I got Zombicide, and I happened to stumble across a picture when looking at some stuff about Zombicide before Green Horde's Kickstarter was finished, and I happened to see a picture of a model, and I'm like, no, this can't be what I think it is, and it was, and it's Guts from Berserk. I don't know how well you can see it in the bag, but there's his Knights of the Hawk helmet, and then they have a head without the helmet on. There's the arm that he shoots over the cannon. So this is more like him as the Black Knight, but there's a community-made card that you can download, and for the character stats and for the weapon, and so you can actually play Zombicide with Guts, which is, I think, pretty cool. And I got a demon from them on accident. I was supposed to get Guts, and they sent me this demon guy I didn't know. But I also got, but there's nothing out there for him. I also got the Skull Warrior from Berserk too, because they had that as well. It's from a Russian website. It takes a while to get the stuff, just because in Russia, I guess from where they're at, they're only allowed, and that's the company right there. They're only allowed, and it comes in these pretty cool MDF boxes that flip open, and they kind of just pop them in that. And that really protects the model, and they put them in a Ziploc bag. Really nothing super fancy, but it works. But yeah, so I told them, hey, you know, I didn't get the model I wanted. I was supposed to get this one. You guys sent me this guy. And they were like, oh, keep him as a gift. Our apologies. And they sent out Guts. And it took about the same amount of time, but I'm not complaining. I got it. I understand. This was 3D printed by one of my friends. I made a whale out of that. There's an ear bubble in there. I kind of put some gold color in there and kind of filled it in. Get that hair out of there. So I actually dried on. Just to give a little bit of interest in that spot when the light kind of catches it some. Kind of make you think there maybe might be something down in there. So that's pretty much what I've done. Obviously I have a lot more stuff to do. Oh, I did some Zombicide doors that were 3D printed by my friend as well. I did do those this year. I got these that I put together and primed. I want to put some felt over this, and this is Mini Duels. It's one of the local game stores. They do sell stuff online. Check them out. They might sell something you might want and need. They have good prices. Their stuff's easy enough to put together. They have videos on how to put stuff together, and if anything's wrong with your order, just let them know and they'll fix it right away. They're really good about fixing it. I got a bunch of Herstart molds that I actually have molded this year. Where is it at? Oh, it's in this bag, right, box right here. So as you can see, I have a bunch of them over here. I'm gonna make one of the tower sets eventually, and I got some, excuse them, sandbags from one of their sets that has sandbags in it that I was going to use for my son's bases, but probably better off really just using that on larger base models and not the smaller ones. They don't kind of work out quite right. Other than that, that's pretty much everything I've been up to. I did get this Kickstarter as well, and in all honesty, I won't lie, the main reason I got into the Kickstarter was for that right there, that beautiful dragon. Oh, I also got, I don't know how well these are going to come out, these from Green Stuff World. Now this is the first time I actually used them, so they might not look so great, but do keep in mind it's my first time playing around with it, so I have to kind of play around with it a little bit more. But these are shell casings, and wasn't the easiest thing, but they do have a video out there on how to do the bricks. And from watching that video to, I think it's pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to have to put some more in there. But yeah, it has different size ammo casings that you can use. For War Machine, that's great because you have different guns. Because the big jacks have them and then the normal guys have them. One of my friends told me to go to Hobby Lobby and pick up these tips. And you kind of snip the end of the tip and you put that over your glue tip. And so that way when your tip clogs, and they're like $2 for a whole package of them. Where did I put the one? Oh, there it is. Unfortunately, I can't put this on one of mine because my tips kept getting clogged and driving me insane. So what I end up having to do to get past the clogs, I'm still struggling with one of my bottles. So I had to cut the tip off. I don't think you're going to be able to see that so well. So it's kind of too far down for that to actually slip over. So once I have other bottles, I'll try it out and see how that works out compared to what I've had before in the past. But that is... Oh, and I also got a 3D printed firewall that I'll be using for my War Machine. Since I do have people that can put up the firewall. So it saves me from having to make one. He 3D printed it for me and gave it to me. So I definitely use that. Other than that, that's it. I try to make this Trigun model. But I'll tell you what, the resin this guy's made out of is not the easiest to work with. I'm trying to fix this back piece because I have flashing, and when I snipped off the little bit of flashing, it took off a whole chunk of the sword. And then I've had some major problems, and that yellow stuff you're seeing is milliput, trying to keep this together because it's just all these different parts of his trench coat all get connected together, and then that sits and glues to his waist, and then on top of that you glue his torso. So maybe not quite the best design, but I gotta deal with it. I want to put it together. I want to make a display piece out of him eventually. But he has frustrated and aggravated the hell out of me, so he has been benched until further notice. But now that I have this magic sculpt, I think I'll be able to get him completed using that. Well, holy crap, my videos run a little bit longer than I thought it. So let me go ahead and end it here. If you want to know anything, ask any questions, please feel free. Have a great day.